All right, just gonna get everything going. This is me looking at OBS. I can look at you too. Okay, video preview's going. Go live notification went. 0 viewers. Oh, did I not update? Did it out of order? Ping people. We're going to be releasing CircuitPython 4.0 beta 4 if all goes to plan. Not the stable release. Just going to let people jump in if they're going to jump in. Maybe nobody will. I'm recording as well. Got 1 thumbs up. Hey, hey. Hi, Summersoft. All right. I guess we don't have to wait. It's not going to be a bunch of people. So, okay. I kind of just like doing Friday streams. So, I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll do stream today. So, I don't want to get myself into the position of doing it regularly, but Friday afternoons are great. So, one thing I was going to do this afternoon anyway, is release 4.0 beta 4. Which ideally is going to be the last of the betas for 4.0 for CircuitPython. So the first step to figuring that out, I guess I was going to explain it all, but I'll just show you. Like, how do we know when we're ready for a beta? Well, yes, this is a common shirt for those of us who did Hacktoberfest. How do we pick when we're doing a beta? Basically, it's like... if there's a super urgent bug that we fixed since the previous beta, we'll push that out if that's preventing people from testing. If there's nothing preventing people from testing, we may wait a while. And what Dan and I have done primarily, and some other folks have helped test and stuff too, is we fixed a bunch of bugs and that were in beta 3, and now we're ready to push out another beta 4. We are also pushing on a Friday, which is kind of like a bit faux pas in the software world, but we have enough people around over the weekend that if it all breaks down, it's not the end of the world. It is still marked unstable, so not too worried about finding anything major. People can always use beta 3 if that's the case. So yeah, so how do we know? If we look at the issues list, well, I look at pull requests and just see if any of these are ones that we want to get in, and they're just older and older pull requests that we should probably actually like close or whatever. So there's nothing there that like Dan or I has done recently or Summersoft has done recently. So there's nothing pending there. If we look at our issues list, I look specifically at the 4.0 Bluetooth. These are all the things that we need to get done before we go to the 4.0 stable. So that's where I want to look. And the reason we're calling it a beta is because there's still stuff on this list. Basically, a release candidate is literally like, we think it's stable, but we're not positive. So release candidate is basically like, we think this might be the stable release, but we're going to give it like a week or 2 of people just trying it, just in case there's something major before we kind of promote it and call it 4.0. Of course, even if there's a bug in 4.0, you can always do 4.01, and that's just fine. So when it comes to what we're seeing here, PyPortal library is broken for tile grid. This has actually been fixed. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody closes this during the stream. Kattni did a release of that, so thank you to Kattni for that. And then kind of what we're seeing is like there's some weirdness around the file system. There's some weirdness about USB, but none of this weirdness is new. I don't think it's not new to the 4.0 betas, so it's okay if we update and just fix some other stuff so that people won't hit the other stuff. There's a couple API changes in beta 4 as well that I really would like to get out so that like all the libraries and examples get up to date before we hit stable, and we have some lead time on that, and making sure that those APIs are what we want, although changing them now is kind of late in the game. And then the only other bugs we have here are a bunch of internationalization bugs. I'm leaving those open just because they're never really done. I'll probably ping them right at the end to just say like, hey, is there anything major we need to fix? But for now, actually one thing, if we don't have a meta bug about this, but one thing I was saying is for translations, we could actually have like a list of the translations that we want to make sure and have for all of the different ones. And then we could write a script that validates that we actually have translations for that core. Because a lot of the things to translate are actually they are error messages, and it's not the end of the world if an error message isn't translated. But there's also things like "Welcome to CircuitPython" or the help text that would be a lot nicer to have. So having more clarity on what is a priority in translations could be nice as well. But I have like something hanging over my eye. Yeah, so this is our issue list. It's down to 17, which has been good. We've been adding the USB stuff and then knocking off some other stuff. So we'll get into that shortly. So in general, if I had to say what the overview of this is that we'll want to write release notes. So to write release notes, we'll comb through the commit log since beta 3 and talk about what's new in beta between those two things. That's meant to be a summary, right? Like we don't need to be comprehensive because the commit log has the comprehensive part to it. We'll add any people to the thank yous that did commits in that window. And then we'll tag that. There's a Twitter message that goes out automatically usually when they're released. So we'll hop on Twitter and say like, oh yeah, that's coming soon. Because it jumps the gun a little bit, so we'll snag that. And then once we tag the release, it's actually a bit of a waiting game because Travis builds all our release artifacts and pushes them there. So what we'll do is we'll do the release notes, we'll tag it, the notification will go out on Twitter because it's ahead of schedule. There will not actually be release artifacts. The other condition is that the current version of master actually needs to compile. And we can see here that the latest version has a green check, so it should all work. There are a couple scripts that run just on tags, and so we'll need to watch it just in case. We have a new website, so that should be automatically updated with the latest version as well. When we should see a pull request come in for that. So as we're waiting for Travis to do all that stuff, it takes about 30 minutes. So this is going to be an hour or two long stream. And then so we'll watch Travis, and we do a release announcement on the forums and on the Adafruit blog. So we'll do that as well. So yeah, that's the overview of, I think, all the things I have to do. And there may be things that I've forgotten because that's the way it goes. And you can always update or go back and add stuff after the fact as well. Let me just move my mic a little closer. Okay, and I'm watching the Twitch chat primarily for the 5 of you watching. You can also mention me on Discord and I'll see it too. But I think we're good to go. And this is being recorded. I'll put it up on the Adafruit page as well. I think it's kind of interesting. It's kind of the behind the scenes of what goes into it. And I should also say that I am paid by Adafruit. Yeah, all 5 of you. I am paid by Adafruit to work on CircuitPython, so consider them a sponsor. And when I bias towards how awesome Adafruit is, I am being paid by them as well. But I liked Adafruit long before I was paid by them too. So there's some truth to it. Anyway, let's get started. So release notes. I'm going to be juggling a couple windows, but hopefully I'll be able to explain it. So I'm going to go to release, and I'm going to look at this, and I just start with the previous release notes. Although we have a new website that I do want to call out in the new release notes. So I just copied that, and I'm going to draft a new release. Copy it in, and I'm going to say CircuitPython. You can see I've done some others. Dan did the last one, I think, though. It's always good to have multiple people know how to do it, so you don't have to do it yourself, always. So let's just go kind of over this. This is the beta build. We can say this is hopefully the last. I like to be personal with it. For release candidate. Depending on how the file system stuff goes. Please use this latest stable 3x. And I'm actually going to change this to our new website because it's way better. Downloads. Da-da-da. It's a little slow because the images are pretty big, but we'll improve it later. This is our new website that Justin and Tyler for Adafruit worked on, and I helped get all of the board info in. So if you want to contribute, this is one place. If we click in here, we can see that the descriptions of the boards haven't been done yet. So if you like writing and you know stuff about these boards, that's super welcome. And then you can see here that we have both the stable release for that board download available. You can select what language, although the 312 is only English. It's actually done as a one-off. I just hacked the script that generates this data just for 312. And we'll see that later when Travis runs. So you can download the UF2 there, or in 4.0 beta, you can see it gives you a language selection, and you can download that as well. We also have links to S3. This is where brand new builds go, and then link to GitHub for past versions. So hopefully we'll get a pull request to update all of these links to beta 4. Okay. And these down here is where we need pictures for them still. So if you have one of these more obscure boards, or Dave Estelles is watching, the Hackspress is your board. So if you have a picture of that, that'd be awesome to get that there. GBM4 is my board. Sam32 is Max's board. I think Dave did supersize as well. So yeah, if you have those boards, let's get some pictures in. That would be cool. Okay. So blah, 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 blah. I was going to take this link and I was going to replace the download link with that because it's a lot friendlier. The reason that we're doing this now is if you look at the release note or the release page for 4.0 beta 3, and you scroll down, and you're like, oh, I want to download this. I want to download this. And then you're like, oh man. Look at all those options. Last I checked, it was like 350. Let's see what it says. 377 release assets. So we'll have this for 4.0 beta 4 as well. We have at least one more language, so that's going to be probably over 400. But that's why we have the website. So we won't actually expect people to download it from here. So our release notes need to call out like, hey, we have this other page that makes it way easier to download. In fact, maybe let's say available. keys. And let's just preview that and say that looks okay. There is not a way to download all the different languages. Oh, all of the UF2s for a given language? No, there's not. There's people that figure it out. Okay, so this bit here is a super high level overview of 4.0. And so we can probably just inherit that. Dan added that, and that is really cool. Installation hasn't changed. We still recommend Mu, and most builds are available. I'm actually going to delete this because those builds are available through the website. Okay, let's then breaking changes from 3x and documentation beta 3. So this is like, oh, those release notes weren't good enough. Let me see all of the changes. We're still based on that version of MicroPython. We don't want to change it. Oh, let's not forget this box. Say we're pre-release. Let's update this date to the 15th. And I don't think, we'll see. We'll be able to delete this because this is all old. And what we'll do is we'll skim all of the commits and add stuff as we see them. So we go back. I thought it was this page. They used to have a link that was like changes since. Huh. Don't actually see it there anymore. Cool. Pictures for the hack, trinket, and feather would be nice. Thank you for noting that. I love that it's like 12,900 even. There's a way to see the diff. Now I could probably just pull it from the release notes. Except I want this one. Now we don't have a beta 4 tag yet. That's what kicks off Travis. But I bet I can just say master. There we go. 53 changed files. I don't want to see the new files, although that will tell me what the boards are. So we got Pirate. Pirate's a new language, so we'll call that out. That's thanks to Summersoft. I might reorder that later. Just a heads up. I was just gonna look to see if, so that's not a new board, but it was changed. PyBadge is a new board. So I will thank myself. Oh, you know, I just finished it. Badge. It's actually J. Reese. add JReese to this list. I ran the sprints at PyCascades, and John helped there. PyBadge, and then fixes. Okay, how do I see commits? Is this different? We used to look at compare commits. If anybody knows the link for that, let me know. Yeah, this is what I'm expecting. Base repository. There's nothing to compare against. Imagine that. Oh, this is branches. .40 beta 3. Oh, did I have to select it? Ugh. There we go. Okay, so 42 commits since beta 3, and now we'll just skim these and see what has happened. I didn't realize the original language code was ENR. That is hilarious. Okay, add translation file locations back. I'm going to ignore because that's not really like something a general user cares about. I'll mention Radimir's stuff. I don't think this pin alias is is big enough news. Spy stuff's not. PyBadge. One thing we should call out is that networking is no longer available. And accept X and Y keyword args into group. Yeah. I might be a little biased. X and Y keyword args for initial position. I'm gonna reorder these later, like by importance. Basically what is gonna break people, which is the change to tile grid. And networking support. Other M0 Express and M0 Express. Should I not say thanks to myself for that? I guess I will. Replace position in tile grid with separate X and Y. make it consistent with group. That was like one of the things I knew I should fix before. Yes, thank you to myself. One of the things we definitely should get out by 4.0 rather than having the APIs like stable and weird. Updated some docs. Let's call out Dan for this PWM fix. ML CMD PWM fix, allowing for more pins. Thanks to Dan. Prevent other file system changes before writes. Like, this moving a directory in itself is kind of obscure, so I'd skip it, but people might run into the, like, oh, I was moving a directory and now I have to worry about whether it's writable. To prevent file system when read only, such as moving a directory, moving a file. Okay. Janos reviewer. And then a couple more bug fixes. So I think I will ignore the rest. These are the things people are gonna really hit. And we have a link to everything. So let's take a look at the list. This looks good. Let's definitely let's reorder it. We should actually, maybe we should do a pirate themed talk about it. Oh, you know what? I did add changing tile index support as well. For changing tile indices in tile grid. That's really key. There's a person on the forum that is trying to do a tile-based game. That's key for when you have like multiple, like a grid of tiles to form like a background or a character, and being able to swap to say like, hey, this 8x8 tile was this index and now it's this other index, maybe because of animation or because of I don't know, something else happened, or direction they're going or something, which I guess is animation. Okay, so let's reorder. Pirate language support is pretty neat, so let's leave that at the top. Removing support for something is important to tell people about, so I'm gonna put that second. Pirate language support. Yeah, I think that's about it. And let's triple check that we haven't forgotten anybody. Summersoft. Dan is in this list, of course. Okay. I think that's it. Did I miss anything? We can always edit this later. Let's move on. Maybe we should actually... Let's put a big headline here. Downloads are now available from CircuitPython.org. Make it a link. The site makes it easy. Language. If anybody wants to know, we're releasing a version of CircuitPython for your board. The downloads page. Is here. And there will be a little bit of a lag. Right now there's still beta 3, but we actually haven't finished beta 4 yet, or tagged it. But I think with that, let's just triple check what it looks like. We can add words to that later if we want. Breaking changes from 3x. I don't think... we had some breaking changes, but they were since beta 3. The title's wrong. Where are my numbers? I think that's it. Okay. So let's just give it a new tag, and then GitHub will start the process going. It's correct format. We do semver 3-digit or 3 numbers dash something dot a number. So we will publish release. So this is like stuff is gonna start happening, but the actual binaries aren't built yet. But if we go to Travis, we should see that it triggered there. Da da da. So we're going, and we'll follow this along. Let's actually check Twitter as well, because I think the CircuitPython, there's a bot. Yeah, see, 28 seconds ago. And I will just say, coming really soon. Really soon. Keep an eye on. And where's my link? Oh, that's this link. So I got ahead of that. Don't get sucked into Twitter on a live stream. That's a bad idea. Okay, so we've found the bot, tweeted in reply that it's... Oh, we just got the email. Nice. It's not actually done yet. There's more stuff. There's more stuff we have to do, and that's what this is all about. We're 35 minutes in the live stream, so we'll see if Travis builds in under an hour on the live stream, but they do take about 20 to 30 minutes a piece. What we've done is there's 5 different jobs that run on Travis, and they're all building different boards. Some of them, the first one actually runs a website update as well. And so what we should see is we should see a pull request come into the CircuitPython.org repo, which I guess I could pull up. from AdaBot saying like, hey, like here's a bunch of new files. And we'll we'll have to create a pull request for the website to actually give a pirate label as well in the dropdown. Right now it'll just show the language code. What was I gonna do? I think I will prep. So basically I repost this on the forums and on the blog. But I do want to kind of sit and wait. I want to I don't want to push those two things out until the release stuff or the files are actually all available. So I can prep that though. So let me go to the Adafruit blog and let me just do it off screen just to make sure that I get in without showing code or anything, which I usually have to do. Yeah, it's making me log in. So let's not let you see my two-factor code. Blog. Posts. Add new. Okay, so now I can show you this. So the Adafruit blog is WordPress. So let's say CircuitPython 4.0 beta 4 released. I will add an image of Blinka or the the Nordic poster maybe. The official CircuitPython 4.0 poster. There's 3. I can never remember like exactly what the files are named. I know they're up. I think it's CP something. Should be okay showing. I got pinged internally. Okay, we'll start with that and make sure and tag it, and then I always do it like here's the GitHub release page. Download from here, and this is HTML. You'll find that this is the same message in like 3 different markup languages. Okay. This is your GitHub URL. Link. Add link. And here's how I get the HTML to show on here. Okay, we're done with this. I do inspect element. And I find the div that stores it all, and I copy inner HTML. Yay. Looks like it's a little different than before, so. Oh, you know, it totally is. I don't think that's what I want. I think that's more, I think that's too high level. Let's try again. Probably markdown body, that's what I want. Hello, we have 8 viewers. I'm releasing a new version of CircuitPython and blogging about it and waiting for Travis to run and doing all that sorts of stuff. and then I put it in block quotes. That is that. I'm gonna add a featured image. I think the Nordic one is like not the right aspect ratio, but there are some that are a better. Ooh. See, that's just so pretty. I love that graphic. Let's just use that one. That's pretty simple. It's nice and wide. Although, let's see, have they changed it since I did that? What I'm thinking is that, yeah, on this page, see how they're like super wide and they don't always fit well? That's why I pick a super wide one. Set that as my featured image, and let's not publish, but preview. That'll pull it up on the blog. Yay, CircuitPython 4. Filed under CircuitPython, which is good. GitHub release page and download from here. Oh, I didn't put the here in, did I? Yep, it's empty. Glad I checked that. I think if I hit preview again, it just reloads. Oh, nice. Okay. So I love all of this formatting that just carries over. Pretty neat, even though I just copied it all in. I think that's it. If there's typos, we can also always fix them later, but I'm gonna save draft because we want to wait until people can go download it immediately. So we'll wait. Let's see, Travis. 9 minutes in, chugging away. Building some binaries. If we click in here, we can see how far it is. Building, building, building. Building CircuitPython. And then the ENX pirate we'll have to support on the website as well. The true test will be, I updated the script that updates the site. And so hopefully that'll go as planned. Okay, so that's ready. Let's prep the forum post as well. How many total UF2/bins do we build? It's more like we had 377 release assets for beta 3. So that's 2 of those are source, I think. So 375 UF2s and bins. And then, yeah, it's going to be over 400 because we added Pirate in beta 4. When I did add language support, I made it so that the subsequent language builds don't take as long. So it's only the first one that takes longer. You can see here on Travis, you can say this first build, the Circuit Playground Express, took 69 seconds. The next ones took 17, 18, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17. DX Pirate. When you add it, Jerry. German pirates. We could do that. We should decide what we want it as in the drop down as well. Okay, let's prep. So you can see here as announcements, we always have the latest unstable and stable. It's kind of a catch-all for people. It's a catch-all if like people don't know where to put their questions, they can put them there. So I will say post a topic. This is one of the most painful parts. Because this is in BB code, which is not marked down like GitHub or HTML like WordPress. So I'll show you. It's a bit intense, but we've got time with Travis Stearns, so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this HTML. And then I have a... let's see which one I use. Yep. That's the one I use, I think. The problem is that it's not perfect. And it does require some cleanup after the fact. Convert. So do that, and then if we paste it, we can take a look at what it actually looks like. I am like, Lady, it is referring to the XKCD where they're like, why are there 5 standards for this? Let's make another standard that will actually be the standard. I'm totally guilty of that. I'm very, very much like, I'm going to make a standard, but I'm not going to follow these other standards. So if we just look at what it looks like straight out of the box, one thing is that there's no inline code tags in the version of BB code that we're using. The list ported over, which is nice. There's a lot of space after the headers, and again, more code stuff. URLs are broken. Like, it doesn't know how to handle the URLs that GitHub generates, so I'm gonna have to delete a bunch of these /URLs. And then these URLs down here are broken because of those. There must be some sort of mismatch or something. So let me pull up Atom, and I'll move it over so you can see it. And we'll do a new file and just paste in here as well. So let's clean up. Clean up. But again, we're like waiting for Travis to go anyway, so it's not the end of the world. I think this might actually be faster than I normally do it because I probably am like checking Twitter and answering, like chatting on Discord while I'm doing this, whereas I'm like actually probably more focused than I normally am. One thing I usually do is I'll because we don't support the inline code, I'll actually replace these code tags with like I tags, which is italic. And then it kind of looks okay still. So if we just copy this out, go back here, select all, paste, and preview. It's already looking better. We have the URL problem here still. But we can see all the code tags are gone, which is nice. And not all of the spacing has been updated, but that's pretty easy. There is a tool called Pandoc that I've tried to use as well, but it doesn't actually... It's a different flavor of BB code that actually has inline code stuff, so... yeah, it's fun. Okay, let's check our URLs. This one's correct. Where's the first one that's wrong? I think it's the mentions that mention URLs that GitHub does that doesn't work, so I'll just go in and delete all of those. Like, it knows that the URL box ended, but it didn't see the start. Something to that effect. Yeah, if people have questions, feel free to ask. That one didn't have one, which is weird. You know, and then I like deleted all of them, and now I need one. Copy it. It must be trying to do some like sort of matching thing that just doesn't work out. Discord, and read the docs. Changes since beta 3, changes since 3.2. Release is based on this version. Purchasing a Pi board. This guide and support forums and Discord. Okay. So if we Control A, copy again. I keep thinking I see chat, but it's just like the very sliver of the screen I'm broadcasting that I can see. Okay, that looks good. 4.0 has an extra space after it. Oh, it's because of the listing. I like it a little bit more condensed. I wonder if I should add links to the pew as well. Like I could link to the new website, which maybe I should have done when I started, but that's okay. That looks good. Let's see what I missed. And again, like I can always edit it if I need to. So, okay, let's not post it yet because we're waiting. Blog post is ready. Yeah, it looks good. Let's see, we're 19 minutes in. And we're still building boards. I think that there's a review I could do while we wait. Let me see. Oh, yeah. I can check. I'm very much like almost on weekend, but let's do a tiny USB review. Let's just take a look at it. So we paid CR 1901 to add STM32F4 support to tiny USB, which is kind of the precursor to getting CircuitPython support, at least very core CircuitPython support. So that's been going really well. Thanks, Jerry. Thank you for your help. I'm excited to see what bugs you find in beta 4. I was thinking about doing a stream like this for the actual 4.0 stable, but it's going to actually be a lot less interesting because it's basically going to be unchanged from release candidate, whatever that goes out. And we already have the like major bullet points for 4.0 as well. Although maybe I will. Maybe we'll just make it a party. We'll have a live stream party. Maybe we'll do it on Adafruit's channel. Get more people. More than the 8 viewers I've got right now. Although they could host my channel as well. I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at this and see what TAC changed. So building the demo on Travis is always really good. Updating the README to include it is nice. Changing the link to the bootloader, just moving it. Changing the make file. Yep. a flash target. SES stuff that I don't use. I'm just going to collapse those and ignore them. I assume they just like they're auto checked and generated and stuff. Typo. Indentation. MCB 1800. I don't know what that is. Huh. Yay! Maker Melissa says she's proud to be one of the 8 viewers. Thank you. I appreciate you all watching me chit chat while Travis runs. And y'all, everybody who's watching has contributed to this, so it's all thanks to you. Actually, that reminds me, is Maker Melissa in the notes? Maker Melissa's been doing a lot of library work. But I don't know if we actually put her in the list of... Yep. Yeah. Right there. Good. If there's somebody that I left off those notes, please let me know. Okay, so Nordic has moved. ST is there. That's okay. We're flashing stuff. White space. That's one thing I want to do is I want to get us all on board of just using Clang format, and then we don't have to worry about this. We do this once and then it's no big deal. Let the computers worry about it. Comments are good. Lots of small things. Let's see. Zero link status response. Okay. That looks okay. Yep. I've been meaning to try this. I've been meaning to try the core of CircuitPython on the STM F4s. To-do cannot stall. So this is just moving it. DC endpoint stall. Oh, this is on LPC only. This walk around is a non-native English speaker thing. He means workaround. Okay, so the LPC is just doing it manually. Control out still can't be stalled. I think that's all right. LPC, 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 which I haven't actually tried. And then all endpoints out, share unique out. 16 32-bit words. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Heyo. Nice. I was just looking at the CircuitPython Discord channel, and we get automatically updated with notifications and new PRs to the website, and Adabot successfully did it. So after we do this review, we'll review Adabot's PR. Yep. Are in units of 32-bit words. Okay. Only disable currently enabled non-control endpoints. Seems reasonable. We're almost done. We're almost done. And then just some deletions of stuff. Okay, he must have reorganized it. Cool. That looks good to me. And I will say it as such. I don't think this Lady Ada is still watching. Or do you want to review it too? I guess I could ask her. Looks good to me as a Google-ism as far as I know. It might have roots before that, but I worked at Google for 6 years, basically. I left like a month before 6 years. And whenever you were reviewing something and you wanted it to like give the approval, you would do LGTM, and it would recognize that as like a positive affirmation that it's okay. So we have circuitpython.org open in a tab, I believe. So let's go and make sure that that worked. And if we look down here, oh, I'm printing it out. Oh, that's okay. So it finished building boards, and then it builds the Unix version. Yep, exactly. Building Unix, and then you test the different versions. This is one thing that makes CircuitPython or MicroPython such a great foundation, is all those tests are inherited from that. Building docs is Sphinx, and then building translations is a script that I ran that just made sure that like all the files were up to date. I'm sure if you've done a pull request to the core, you run into that. I still run into it. And then the script that I have prints it all out, which is kind of annoying, but this is what the file looks like. Oh. Is the JavaScript not caught up? And then at the very end, this is what the PR says. And we run Adabot, which should have pushed the files to the actual release. So we can close this and refresh this page. And if we look down here, let's see, what's our asset count? We're at 303. So most of them are finished. I don't think we're all the way done yet. But let's go up and up and up and up, and look at our build overview. It must be uploading still, because the job hasn't finished. The one we were looking at the first one. Yeah, it's still uploading. Oh, now it's uploading to S3. So all of our builds also get pushed to S3, including the release builds. And so that worked too. And we're green, which is good. And we'll go back here. So we're green on 3 of 5. It's all coming together, folks. If we refresh, we're now 341. All right, place your bets and no cheating. How many release assets are we going to end up with? We had one new board and one new language. It's also math. You don't have to guess. I'm going to say like, I don't know, 450. 8. That's a pretty low guess, considering we started at 377. Okay. Let's look at this pull request. Actually, you know, this pull request should have a list of all. It should tell us how many. So this is really nice. AdaBot's our friend. AdaBot is our account that we use for all of our automated pull requests and stuff, which is awesome. So I think there was at least one person who followed AdaBot. Me, I guess. I have 12 followers. Oh man, AdaBot's so busy. AdaBot also automatically releases the bundle, so you can see. These are actually like based on how much activity we've had on the libraries, which is neat. Let's see, files changed, and it's gonna be a big difference. We do need to wait. Okay, so this downloads number is 0, which doesn't seem correct. 2. You know, I wonder if oh, it just reordered the stable releases. That's annoying. I wonder if I should edit it. So it looks like it's not, there must be a bug in the script. So the idea is that the download page is ordered by the number of downloads of the previous stable release and previous unstable release. Circuit Playground has a lot of downloads, and that's kind of the idea. It's kind of it's a policy I wanted because CircuitPython should be Adafruit agnostic. But like CircuitPython is an Adafruit thing, so a lot of the downloads are there. But it has this nice property that like all these one-off hacks and stuff that haven't gotten very popular are at the bottom as well. So I think it's the right way to like default to it. And it's the only past 2 releases, so that like if new boards crop up, they can make it to the top of the page. I thought the script should include all of the download counts from 312 as well, but it doesn't look like it's successfully doing that. So I'm probably gonna just merge it, and then maybe we got time, we could on the at the end of the stream we could hack the file that generates this and have it do the stable downloads as well. We could fix that bug, but there's no reason to hold the release up on the ordering. The ordering will be okay. It won't be quite as stable. But yeah, like 26 Feather M4 is like, that's way too little. Or we could fix it now. That's the nice thing about this PR, is that it's actually something we can change. Just like all PRs, we could actually just fix it. Maybe I will. How are we doing? Okay, our build's green. So let's refresh. 443. Oof, that was pretty close. I said 450. But it looks like everything got uploaded correctly. I think what I will do, I think I will just merge this PR and we can follow up with a second PR right afterwards, just so that we can start like all of these posts that I have like only saved in my tabs is kind of annoying. So let's push it out. So let's just say looks good. Thank you, robot friend. And we'll see if we look at the downloads page here versus if I open it after I submit this. So I merged it, and it takes just a little while to deploy. And then we'll debug the script. Let's not, since we're pushing people to the website, let's not post these quite yet. I know, AdaBot's an awesome robot friend. So you can see that the order has changed kind of a lot. Not as much as I would have thought. PyPortal is definitely further up. And SparkFun is as well, which is totally cool. That's because it's only the 4.0 downloads. It's not waiting the three downloads at all yet, which it should. And I thought it would, but it didn't. And then these are all the zeros at the bottom. But that's totally good enough. I mean, it's close enough that it'll get people going. So let's just double check that we can download it. And you can see ENXPirate. So maybe we fix that right now, actually. So how do you fix the website? I think I'm gonna cheat. Oh, you know, I'll be good. I'll do it from my. This is important to note. If you're doing a major change, how do you check the website locally? CircuitPython.org git fetch Adafruit git checkout Adafruit master. This is like how I start all my changes, and then add pirate. And then I do bundle exec serve. How did I do it? Oh no. What did I forget how I got my Ruby environment going. And I just updated everything with brew. Huh? There was something I did. And I thought I had set it up correctly. Ugh. I'm sorry. I understand Python's just like Ruby, but just never. Yeah, this is what I thought. Gems bin. What was it? No such file. I probably updated my Ruby. 26252423. Screw it. We'll just test it. It's such a small change that I can probably get it right. And we can always fix it later. And that's the issue I have with it. It's like just needs to be installed. Let's see, it's in layouts, download. We should really internationalize this too, but we haven't. Switch statement in Ruby in Jekyll. Jekyll's the way to go though, because of, let's put it next to English. ENX pirate. English. In case we have a German pirate. Preview changes. It looks okay. And pirate. Download text. I put English second because I want it to, hopefully it's less confusing if English is in parentheses. And now I create a pull request. And hopefully somebody watching will review it for me. Although, yeah, I think CircuitPython librarians can review. Okay, that is good. Download link works. I'm gonna assume the build's okay. I won't even put it on a board. And push the blog post out. Publish. And put the forum post out. And what I do is then I'll edit this previous one and just make it not an announcement. So it still sticks around. It just doesn't end up in the top part anymore. Now we got those two. And I have some things to get back to, but I won't yet. Nobody's reviewed my PR. It's not the end of the world. People will get what ENX pirate means. Okay, preview can go away. Post is published. Forum post is up. Let's see if we can figure out why, oh why, that was the download count wrong. Thank you, Melissa. Can I merge it? You want to hit the button? Boom. I don't exactly know how long it takes to be rebuilt by GitHub. Hey, 10 viewers. Welcome. We just released CircuitPython Beta 4. And we have one bug to fix for sorting the downloads page. And then we'll be done. Still ENX pirate. Yeah, this Feather Radio Fruit Zigbee is an unreleased product. Yeah, I think there is lag on Twitch. I think you're right. I think I can change it. There's a setting somewhere whether you want to be like higher quality or lower latency, and I think I'm picked on higher quality because like most of the time people are looking at like text on my screen, and I want the quality to be higher so they can read it rather than like a fast moving game or something. Cool. What was I gonna do? I was gonna run the script and fix it, hopefully. Fix download count. I could have sworn I had like thought about it, and then I thought it was gonna work. Is this updated yet? Yes, it is. Did it remember what I had selected? It shouldn't default to that. It should default to this. It's still next to it. I don't know how it's sorted. There might be a language code that sorts it. Cool, that looks good. I like pirate. Okay, so that is set. They were just gonna look at running the script. Where's my text? All right, we don't need that. Don't need that. Tools, build board info is what we want. And this will, if it has the credentials, it will try to make a pull request. But we don't want that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is kneecap it so it doesn't do that. Right, it's right here. This create branch is the first call, so I'll just return. Voila. And then I think I do need to source environment stuff. Where did I put it? Adabot? There. Oh, crap. Gonna have to delete those keys. Ah, that's a bummer. That's yeah. I don't use bash, I use fish. What is the right command for that? It's just dot, I think. Oh man, that's such a bummer. Oh, it's several minutes? Yeah, oops. I gotta do that right now. Travis access token, GitHub access token. I'm gonna break a bunch of stuff, I think. I think we've been pretty good. I gotta do a private window. A little bummer. Let me at least So if you're just not understanding what just happened, is that I accidentally showed secret keys for logging in as Adabot. So I'm currently hoping nobody in the 10 people watching are malicious. And this is the way you do keys, not passwords, is because you can revoke keys. Settings. I think that this is also why you should name your keys well. Testing. I think that's it. Well, and then the Travis access token. I forget how that works. Oh man, I can't believe I did that. Guess it's all fair game. Hopefully I don't break too much stuff. I think that second key actually doesn't matter because it's for the old .org. I don't know what it is for. Well, I guess we'll find out. That's what I get for loading. I was like thinking that this will be fine. I can load credentials like they won't print out. What am I thinking? I assume you can't see it now. Yeah, it's off screen. Barely. I like just did this recently and I can't remember how I did it. That's so terrible. Oh, it might be because I updated fish and then I didn't. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I realize this is like even less exciting than what I was doing before. But, yeah. Oh. all that pain. I can show you this again. This is what was supposed to happen. Pro tip, don't update your shell and then run something that runs a shell script, because you just might show your entire stream and the recording. Is it Friday? Is it weekend yet? Okay, let's do this. Tools. Env Travis tag. So this, we should pretend we're still in like don't actually make a PR mode. So we should be able to pretend that we're doing beta 4. Oh, we need to source something that doesn't have credentials in it. Ugh. VM. Hey, that's a good sign. That's a great sign, actually, because that means I deleted the correct access token that I had just shown. And off screen, let me just pull up, make sure you can't see what I'm doing. All right, I'm gonna move my. It's a good sign. I deleted the right token. Okay, I'm logged in as AdaBot in a private browser that you can't see, and I'm gonna generate myself a new token that I'm not gonna show the world. I'm just like double checking. This is why you have revocable credentials. New token. 10 newts. AdaBot. Testing. Token. It only had public repo access too, so also give it limited access. Copy. Here. Again, sorry that we all learned a security lesson, but we'll get back to fixing Python in just a second. And, I'm gonna delete this Travis token out of here too. Okie dokie, and you can't see it. In fact, I'm going to open another tab. So hopefully I don't browser history or tab history up to it. And I'm going to source it before I turned it on. Or before I show you to you again in case I do the same thing. Which would be unfortunate. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Okay. Without showing credentials, I'm now logged in. I'm gonna close this. And we're particularly interested in download count. So in here, I'm gonna actually comment out this, which is what's printing everything out. I might actually leave that commented when I make my PR. The important reason that I wanted to make sure and be logged in is that it uses your credentials as a way of, or as a rate limit. So I was working on it a couple days ago and just used anonymous and quickly hit that. So I'm looking for the thing that gets the download counts. Generate download info. Delete the releases we're deleting. Update downloads. In previous releases, we printed both. See, this is why I thought it would work. Is that it's probably something silly like we're setting it to 0 more than once. So in update downloads, let's just see what it's doing. So for each release, it gets it. Cannot get previous release info. And we add it. So let's just print. I swear this worked. Board name, comma. It's possible that we like reset download count. Oh, I guess we should print the version too. And in fact, what we could do. Oh, that's done on a per file basis. It looks like the second time it, oh no, it's just order. It's unstable in the order of what it does. But this looks correct. This is why like when the number was like 20, I was like, that's too low. So we have some logic errors here that are causing us to overwrite it. Actually, let's just see what it does. For board, it's just download count. Right, so this is where we copy it over. Get board mapping, so that's where we set it to 0. We print it out. I thought this should work. And maybe the API didn't work. Oops. Could have been some sort of bug. Yeah, those numbers are right. 239. Oh, you know, it's downloading I think it's downloading the download count for 4.0 beta 4 now. I was like, how is only 3 people downloaded Circuit Playground Express? But that must be for the new 4.0 the beta 4 release. Let's see, Trellis M4 has been downloaded once. PyPortal twice. Oh man, people are jumping on this. That's awesome. But that's not what we want. We actually want to use the previous release. So let's hack this up a little bit. I think what I'll do is I will make a PR myself. And I'm just going to say if release is 4.0.0 beta 4, actually download release hack this up, shall we? And then I'm going to... So we never found a bug unless deleting previous releases didn't work correctly. So it does print it out. So let's actually look at Travis and see what the output was. Somebody's calling somebody in their car. Okay, here's the output. Here's what the file said. It did find 312, but like there was only 13 downloads. Oh, I think we want to see what's before this. Yeah, see, previous releases here was only one of them, which is weird. When we ran it, it wasn't there. So delete the release we are replacing. For board and current info. Info equals current board info. For info in info versions. Previous release is add version. But anybody see it? Like current info should be a dictionary of the previous file's data. Like, that's really strange. That's super strange. Like this printout doesn't have 312 in it at all either. Oh, but that's the MKR. That's the MKR. Yeah, it's here still. So I didn't delete it. Are we not iterating? Does it depend on what the first entry is? Current info. Like this should go over every board and add it to the set of previous releases. Did we show it here? 40 beta 4 and 312. Beta 4 and 312. I don't know. That's really weird. We'll keep an eye on it, but like we can fix it next time too. All right, so we'll leave that print in there. We hacked it up there so that we have previous releases. And then the commented out bit that prints out the file we want, because we'll just snag that and then use that to create our pull request. So 312's in there. We've got big download numbers. Particle boron, 1. Argon, 2. It must be some sort of bug. There we go. Now if we go to the website, and we edit that file manually, that's so weird that it didn't work. Da-da-da. Whoa, 15 viewers. Some bug that I haven't figured out. Awesome, 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 awesome. We're just about to wrap up, I think. Unless you want to see some Game Boy stuff. Although I'm kind of running out of steam. It's requesting Adafruit review my pull request. Some reason I think that Adabot's not going to do it for me. It's so weird. I don't know why. Yes for Game Boy. All right. We can at least talk about it a little bit. Maybe I'll see if I can't use my awesome overhead camera that Phil Lamore bought me. Like, there's nothing here that would fix the way that 312 stuff would work. That's okay. I'll just trash it. I can always do this again. Board info. Okay, let me turn this on. If the screen does go down, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna try to add another source of video to it so that I can show my debugging setup for the Game Boy. Because it's Friday afternoon, right? Why not, right? This is going to be the wrong way. I don't have a lot of room on my desk. Plugging in the camera. Hoping somebody does my code review. Then I can call it weekend. Even though it's only 3:30. Okie dokie. Alright, I don't have anything super sensitive anywhere on my screen. I don't think. Let's try. Okay. Let me just All right, heads up. If this doesn't work, I'll try to come back at least a little while. But I'm going to add a scene to OBS. Who knows how that will go. It's black. Add sources. Video capture. Add existing webcam. Hey, that's a start. Let's see. Video capture. What's this? Nothing. Yes. Let's add a new video capture device. Hovercam. Select the device. Hovercam Ultra. Ooh, we have Game Boy. In 1280 by 720. I wonder if I can rotate. Where do you think it should go? Should I put it here? There we go. That's what I could do. It's definitely awkward. And then lastly, display capture. Is it this one? Hey, yo, that's what I want. I just want it below. That looks pretty good. I think I can do that. Oh, and it shifted over. But it's right side up then. Which way does the Game Boy need to go? It's got a lot of wires connected to it, so I can. There we go. That'll do. Okay, does that work? Can you all see me, the Game Boy, my screen, my security and privacy dialog? I'm just failing today. Okay, you can't see that. Okay. Lower right, nothing else, Studio Cam, now Game Boy twice your size, upper left, and now 3 feeds, you Game Boy, right. Perfect. And Melissa's done my review. Thank you, Melissa. And we'll merge that. And we'll call it weekend. Do I have batteries in the Game Boy? I don't. I'll be right back. I gotta get batteries. Okie dokie. We'll keep an eye on the downloads page because the order should change again. So the Zigbee's not in the second row. Okay, so I'm gonna even put a time code in since Twitch allows me to do that. I guess I'll put these in the Game Boy. Okay. Josh, I'm glad you like the new website. A lot of the design was not me. It was Tyler and Justin. I hooked all the pieces that we had together. Oh, goth mode, yeah. Yeah, black screen, goth mode. I'm gonna call this Weekend Game Boy Edition. Add it as a stream marker. Okay, so if you don't know, we're working on gaming stuff officially for CircuitPython. We've got an upcoming device that you may have seen that under. Let's tie this to the release. 4.0 beta 1, we added support for this. This is the PyBadge prototype. So we are going to work on gaming stuff. You'll see more and more of that come. Here is it under the hood. If we plug it in with the cable, so you have no idea how many cables I have on my desk right now. But if I find one and then get it so it's not lots of cables. I think this will at least show the REPL. Plug it in. It's not cracked. There's a bug. But the backlight does work and Blinka looks okay. So this is the PyBadge, and we're going to be doing some gaming stuff shortly. So that's what we added. And on my hobby side, I really have been really inspired, as you folks probably know, by the Game Boy. Thank you. I'm glad you like my Game Boy. This is a Game Boy Pocket that I got at a store here in Seattle for like $7. It's got some damage to the screen at the bottom that's always on, so they didn't think they could sell it. I was like, sweet, that'll be a perfect like hack on Game Boy. What all these wires? Hold on, let me. So all these wires are debug wires. If you saw me at Pi Cascades, you saw that those are hanging off. If I flip it over, there's actually a cartridge that I've designed. It's basically the guts of like a Metro, where the SAMD51 is basically controlling the address bus and the data bus. So if you can see, I think it's in focus. The card edge is how that you communicate with the Game Boy. 5 volts clock, write read, chip select, addresses A0 through A15. So that's a big chunk. And then 8 pins of data. And then there's reset audio, which was never used, in ground. And so I have all of those pins basically going to the SAMD51. And so you don't need to modify your Game Boy at all. Let me I'll give you a sneak peek. If I take this, I actually took out all of the screws, so I can just take the back off. This is a Game Boy Pocket. It's not a DMG. And that is not the right focus. Try again. I don't get it. I wish it was like a real. Why is it? It's not liking me, is it? It's still alive. Anyway, this is the cartridge connector. This chip here is basically the brains of the entire thing. Then there's just a couple RAM chips, I think. And this is where the batteries go. This is the audio amplifier for the speaker and the headphone jack. And then on the other side, there's basically the screen and the buttons. And I don't like to undo that because the buttons will all fall out if it's undone. So I'll just put the back on it. So it's unmodified. It just takes 2 AAAs. And then I can take my cartridge that is currently wired up for me to debug. I was working on it last night. I don't know if everybody saw the tweet that I put out, but got some exciting stuff going. And then we actually don't need it flipped up this way. We can flip it up so that the screen shows. And we'll turn on the volume. Remember where it is. Yeah, the big black plastic in the center is a cartridge connector. And yeah, that's the factory stock connector as well. If you want to see, I do have a DMG, the original Game Boy, and Game Boy Colors in the other room where I got the batteries from, but I won't go into that. Let's refresh our download page and see that it worked, since we are directing people there right now. It is on our to-do list to make it load faster. It's like a bunch of big images. It's still there, which is weird. Somebody must have been downloading it. But yeah, that's still interesting. This one I wouldn't expect to be at the very bottom. Unless... What did I change that to? Ugh. Shouldn't it be on here? Oh, did I not update all of them? Don't tell me these counts don't include the beta 3 counts. I don't know. It's good enough. It's gonna keep changing anyway. But that's... Why is PyPortal down there? There's definitely a bug. Ah, dang it. Like, I don't understand it. Oh, you know what? I think I do know what it is. It's that when we copy it over, we're not adding it. Download count, download count. This. Current board info downloads equals that. So it depends on the order that we do it. Current board info. Where does that come from? That's what it is. I know this is going to be a little laggy, but if there's specific things you want to see about the Game Boy, let me know, and we'll get to that right after I fix this bug. Current info, board ID, downloads. So if board ID is not in current info, then we add it. Here's where we may remove it. So this is probably where we want to say info downloads equals 0. So we'll reset it because we'll add them later. I'm sorry, Melissa. I really appreciate the code reviews. And now this plus should actually work. Let's just run it again. And this will make the pull request. So let's kneecap that, or prevent it from doing that again. Branch return. See, this is why it's good to take breaks from the work you're doing. Oh, you know, and this is gonna get download stats for 4.0 again. I was just so excited to be doing Game Boy stuff that at least we fixed the bug. For board and current info, previous release, this is where we did it. If previous release or release is typing game is off today. Done. Okay. I could probably like make it actually go to my clipboard, but ideally the thing works and then I don't have to worry about it. Thanks. I'm glad you like the Hacktoberfest and the Game Boy. I guess I could have the Game Boy on. How does that look? You can see it. Sorry for the headphone cord dangling. Oh yeah, it doesn't automatically scroll anymore. You actually have to press a button. Got that working last night. We can talk about that in just a bit. Let me make another code review. We wouldn't expect the MKR 1300 to be 0. But it is still. $345, $23.94. That still doesn't seem like it's enough. Did I not do it correctly? Did I not save the file? Or really, did they not get any? Any downloads? Just print it off. Thinking of that, trying to actually be more diligent. I have a 2017 Hacktoberfest shirt as well. So the question was, did we actually fix it? And did it? Yeah, it just got no downloads with beta 3. Versus beta 2. That looks okay. That still seems suspicious to me. A midnight purple Game Boy. Is that the like semi-transparent one? I've got a couple colors. Yeah, but that's a Game Boy Color, right? It's the semi-transparent one. All right, well, I think that is the bug. I'm not going to worry about it now, honestly. Like, those 3 numbers that changed are not going to make a huge difference. I think I might actually just stash it. Oh no, I'm in a branch. I'll just commit it as blah. Okay, what do you want to see about the Game Boy? Should we... The next step I was going to do is to make it... You know, I could... It's probably pretty easy to make it press a button and play a sound. That's probably the easiest. Updating the screen is... I could talk about that. So my goal with the Game Boy is that you can program... I guess I could show that code. My goal is that you can program the Game Boy from CircuitPython. And I can show you what that means. But I think I turned off the ability to play sound, so we can do that again. We can turn it back on. Okay, let's check out my GBIO branch. And get submodule init recursive. I do like the transparent purple. I can't remember what it's called, but I know the one you're talking about, and it's quite neat. And now we should actually be able to J-link to it. Ah, my fish is so unhappy. I realize that sounds really funny. I updated it like right beforehand. How's the screen doing? It's good. That tangly cord is kind of annoying. Let's see if I can. There. That might be a little better. Now it's dangling on my screen, but that's okay. All right, let's J-link to the Game Boy. And just try to get my attention if I end up working on part of the screen that you can't see. And then here we do this, the firmware we build, and we could do, I have reload debug in my GDB init. I think I'll definitely call it at 3 hours. Just 45 minutes from now. I do have to get ready. I have a choir rehearsal tonight, so we'll need to get ready for that at some point. Yeah, something's weird with that download count still. It's quite strange. I'll have to look at the source. Figure out what the right values are. This is probably taking longer because I'm encoding a bunch of video. I built it last night. Shouldn't be different. But, oh yeah, it doesn't work anymore because it's the debugger is connected. Maybe I should have just cleaned it. Made sure and started fresh. I can always answer forum emails too. We don't want that. No, this is why it didn't work. I never did the... Oh, no, I stashed it. This is the old version. All right. Let me show you how I have the Game Boy set up right now. So this is publicly available, although this is literally the only cartridge I've built. I've ordered V5. I guess I could show you KiCad. Raise your hand if you want to see the board schematic stuff. Otherwise, I will show you this. This is the GBIO module I've added to CircuitPython. It's not in the core, it's just in a branch. Oh, it's telling me encoding overloaded. That is why it's taking so long. Oh, my poor laptop. It's encoding 3 high-res streams and trying to build CircuitPython. And you want me to open KiCad. We probably shouldn't do the Salier at the same time too. You know, I'll quit Slack and preview. Yeah, us coders don't get schematics often. I know, like I'm totally a software person too, but schematics are, well, these are software person schematics, so don't get your hopes up too much. Let me just show you that if I hit continue, the Game Boy reset, and now it's gonna start again. So it did just load the brand new code, which is cool. And I'll leave that running, or it should be running. It's broken. That's a bummer. I swear it used to work. Before I rebuild, I'll pull up KiCad. It's KiCad 502. They just released 510, and I'm excited to use it, but I don't want to update even more stuff. This schematic is also, all these files are available on the Chickadee Tech GitHub page. If you need a link, just let me know. If you're curious about building that, let me make sure we'll take an excursion to schematic land, and then I'll show you the board layout. So again, remember software engineer schematic layout. This is the cartridge connector. All of these test points here are what I've added so you can solder wires to, so you can do what I've done and have them hooked up to a logic analyzer. This row below is, again, the cartridge connector, but a second set of test points that are pads on the bottom side of the new board. That's not on this board. And I should say that these are schematics for the latest revision that I've ordered from Oshpark, but I don't have yet. These 3 things are logic level shifters. So Game Boy's 5 volts, SAMD 51 is 3.3 volts. So these 3 are just shifting the address lines and the control lines down from 5 volts to 3 volts into the SAMD. This one here that I drew my own schematic for is bidirectional for the data bus. In practice, I only output data on the data bus. I don't ever read. Theoretically, you can, but that would require swapping the direction of the port out on the SAMD, all of the pins out on the SAMD, and I don't want to have to worry about that. So what happens is that there are 3 data lines that you have to worry about to figure out. So that bidirectional level shifter is used to like assert the data bus when we're supposed to, and then let other things control the data bus when we're not supposed to. And that's dependent on the A15 line, which is the highest bit of the address, and that's cartridge or not cartridge on the Game Boy, and then the clock signal and the read signal as well. So we can assert the data bus when we're reading. The clock is low, and A15 is low, meaning read from the cartridge. And the way that that works is I'm using the CCL, the custom configurable logic in the SAMD51 to actually do it automatically. The CPU doesn't have to worry about that at all. It's just like that port is always outputting a value that's stored in like the port's registers, and the CCL controls like when that byte is delivered to the data bus. So that's how we get data back out. What else can we see here? This is a MOSFET to control the reset line. So the cartridge can actually turn on the Game Boy essentially. So it has a reset line and it can hold it low. That's why when I reset through GDB, it scrolled down again because that starts the Game Boy CPU over again. This is the SWD connector. This is the LED that you can't see because it's on the other side of the board. This stuff is new. This is not on, or USB connector is not new, but the reset button is on the newer revision, and this is actually 2 8-inch jacks, so that we'll be able to do MIDI in and out from the Game Boy cartridge, which we currently don't have on this. I'm not entirely sure the Game Boy would be a lot easier. The Game Boy Advance would be a lot easier because it's a more complicated processor. So one of the things is like, as you get older in gaming handhelds, you have to worry about the way that they have security. So like how do they verify that cartridge is actually one that they want to be able to run on the hardware. The Game Boy Advance does have a backwards compatibility mode for Game Boy that could probably just straight up work with this approach as well. But I don't know the details of it. Oh, it's old ARM though. It's not a Cortex-M, so I don't know. If you got CircuitPython running on the Game Boy Advance itself, that would be amazing. But I'm curious to see how so this cartridge approach of like having the address bus and the data bus is something that should be applicable to a lot of this era of like the Game Boy era of stuff. If you looked, I don't know if you can see it, but I actually have a Game Gear as well. So like Game Gear, Commodore 64, Atari 800, like all of this approach of like basically pretending to be memory but not actually being memory should apply to all those things, which is, I think, pretty neat. The other nice thing about this is like if you write multiple games in CircuitPython, you can literally like just swap the cartridge and play the other game, which I think is pretty cool too. So yeah, that's the schematic, and then I'll just quickly show you the latest of the cartridges. So that's the cartridge. So you can see here the edge connector down here. These actually, I could just do. Oh, it's on OBS still. Let's tax my computer again. Graphics. So edge connector, 3 address level shifters into the SAMD21. This is the opto isolator for MIDI in that is not on this current cartridge. This is the regulator here, taking the 5 volts from the Game Boy down to 3.3. Data goes through this bidirectional level shifter here, kind of comes out and then around. And then this is the reset. And all of these rectangular pads are footprints for SMD hooks, so you can like really easily get access to signals, which is been amazing. I'm using one hook right now. This PB17 I have an alligator clip to. And then not on this cartridge, but the newer ones will have 2 MIDI jacks in and out, and then we'll have USB that's nudged over, and then debug, which we have on this version as well, and reset. So that's the cartridge. That's the hardware side. And then this wasn't working, which I guess is because we cleaned it up. So let's close KiCad. Oh, I could close Spotify as well. And the weather and messages. Discord. I'll close Discord too. I'm trying to like get some resources back so that when I compile CircuitPython and are streaming at the same time, that it's pretty fun. Oh, you've never been able to get chips to show up in KiCad 3D view. What I had to do is I had to make sure and use the latest footprints. So I downloaded 3 or 502, and then I actually had to like, they've been doing a lot of library reorganization. So like for all of the TSOP 8s or something, I had to go in and like pick the newer version, because by default, when you go version to version, it will recover the old footprint. And there's like this like library that you end up with, which is like KiCad recovery or something. So if you just, what I just did is just went in and replaced the old footprints with the new footprints from KiCad, and then they started showing up. So 510 was just released, so I'd recommend just downloading that and updating your footprints in your existing designs to the ones that are built into the latest release. And I should have said that while I was building. So I'm going to reload it again just to make sure it's because I've been switching branches. I want to make sure that I've got like all of the code that I want. So in here, let's collapse this because it's all in this one file. So this is the implementation of the GBIO module that I have. And a lot of this is still just done in C. Basically, once I can get it into C, it's easy to get it into Python. It's just binding it. But until then, so the only API that I have currently all the way up to Python is basically one that says, here's a set of instructions, run these whenever you can. And it will either queue it up or run them right away. It won't block. So it's just like, here's a set of instructions, run these instructions. And the way that it's doing that is that the Game Boy is constantly fetching a particular address, and we can return the same thing. Like I said, like whatever the ports register is storing is the thing that will just end up on the bus every time. And I figured out a way to like set the register to a particular address and just repeatedly jump to it. So it'll just like, I posted in GB Dev about it last night, and the person was like, why are you just jumping to the same place over and over again? And that's because like, we're not actually just memory, we're a cartridge, we're smarter than that. Yeah, so what we'll do is you say like, here, do these end instructions, which is like load this value into the register and then load this into a CPU register and then write the register out to memory, where memory might be like the Game Boy's sound register or something, and that would make a sound play. So on the SAMD side, what it is it's queuing up a DMA transaction. So that same CCL that's doing the logic of like outputting a signal to assert the data bus at the right time is also outputting events into the SAMD51 when that period starts. And I think it's at the start. It's the start or the end. It's outputting an event, and that event is driving DMA, and that DMA is going into like 8 pins all at once. So basically, like you queue up a set of instructions, and at the very end of the set of instructions, you always have to end with like the instruction that jumps to the place where we want to end up. And because we're not memory, like we can actually change what is at the address over time. And that does actually like rely on the CPU not caching memory values and stuff too. So it's another reason not to use the more advanced CPUs. It's because that trick will not work if it's just hitting the CPU cache every time. Which may, like on these other things, may cause that to be harder or impossible. So Game Boys are cool. They made like 150 million of them or something, so they're still around. Yeah, so I don't know why it's not working anymore, which is Unfortunate. But let's go. We can debug this. I'm going to stream for another 30 minutes and then I'll call it wherever we're at. So if you have questions, again, please put them in the comment. Put them in the Twitch stream. I closed Discord because I'm building. And I'm built, actually. So let's just... Maybe that's why it wasn't working. Oh, it does work. Perfect. I win. So I just got it last night where the directional pad. These are red. These other buttons are correctly red. I'm just not doing anything with them. And we can show that in just a sec, the code that's doing it. But yeah, it's a little gimmicky. It's not in Python yet. It's only into the C that's under Python. And the other thing I wanted to try to turn on was the ability to play music. Make the button say new. 90%, that's awesome. Ask me about the other 10% that you don't understand. I'm happy to help with that. I don't know if I have time to make the button say new. For one, I don't have a recording of new. And I can't play back recordings to the Game Boy anyway. We could pick a Game Boy sound that kind of sounds like new, though. Okay, so let me just go through this file. And the only Python API that we have is just like, here's some instructions, run them as soon as you can. That's great for like just like playing back audio. The other class of instruction that we need to be able to queue from Python is the ability to queue instructions that we must run during vsync, which is when the screen isn't updating. It's when the CPU has access to the memory that updates the screen. And that's actually like what a lot of this work has been doing is figuring out how to recognize when the vsync interrupt happens, which is an interrupt the Game Boy generates when it's finished updating, so to speak. So you can know like you have like 1,000 Game Boy cycles to do stuff before it needs that memory again and basically cuts you off. And then I also use that same mechanic to recognize when you get a gamepad interrupt as well, which is basically like I'm also generating it. How many instruction locations are buffered before you jump back to the address repeatedly? I think the buffer that I have in here right now is 512 bytes, but it could be as many as we want. The one thing we want to make sure is we don't want to run the program counter outside of the cartridge memory space, which is why I have it jumping back to that address. The address is just like one I picked that's kind of low. It's like 1,000 in hex. Like it's 1000. And I actually have been using it for debugging as well of like, once I get one vsync interrupt, it changes to 1100 just so I know. I typically don't use the entire 512 byte space. The only other thing is that I think it is about 1,000 cycles that we have in the vsync period. And so I think we will want to have like a full like 1K buffer that we just like crank out during the vsync. So all of the like sprite movement that you're doing, tile updates, palette updates will all have to go into that for a given frame. Like you could do it over multiple frames. But yeah, I'll show you. So this first set of instructions and data here is actually what is loaded from the cartridge during the bootloader. So this is how we get it to show Adafruit, is we return Adafruit in, and thanks to John Park for actually making the bit picture of Adafruit logo. That's what this is. The second one's the Nintendo logo, and this is what the Game Boy bootloader uses to verify it's a valid cartridge. So it is actually like the bootloader is actually loading the same address location twice, but we don't care. So we change what we return. And then this is metadata, 28 bytes of metadata that it validates, passes a checksum. And then these zeros are no ops. It lets the program counter increase, but it doesn't do a whole lot, or it doesn't do anything except return zeros. So we start by we set the stack pointer because the stack is actually used. We don't use RAM basically on the Game Boy because we don't really need it. We have our own RAM that's way bigger. But we set the stack pointer because its values are pushed to the Game Boy stack when interrupts occur. So we make sure that that's a valid location in RAM. A couple no ops for no ops sake. And then for the gamepad, there's 8 buttons, but they're not individual bits, so you actually have to like toggle to. There's a great. I guess I could show this too. I think it's open in the. Actually, I can pull it from here. There's a great unofficial Game Boy CPU manual. Actually, maybe it. Yeah, I think it's unofficial. But it has literally like all of the addresses of the registers and what they do, and they explain like the. Let's see, we're talking about the gamepad. Yeah, so this is like you have 8 buttons, but they're multiplexed. So you have 2 buttons that you have to set low. You can set one or both to low so that when you press, can you see that? Oh, you can barely see that. There we go. That's better. So they're multiplexed. And what this is doing here is it's setting those 2 top lines to low. So you'll get an interrupt when any of the buttons are pressed, but you can't actually know which button it is because it's one of 2 of them. So we set them both low so we get the right interrupts. We do that by, well, I was experimenting with this, which is just loading a value into that register. I don't think it's actually needed. So this loads into register A hex 30, and then that hex 30 is written out to FF00, which is this register that the manual is talking about. And that's setting P14 and P15 to low. And then we clear the interrupt status by loading a 0 and then writing that 0 to where the interrupt status register is. And then we enable the interrupts. This comment is wrong. And then it's written out to FFFF. Go ahead and ask your question. And then interrupts are actually enabled. And then this is the bit that we always end with, which is loading 1000 into the HL register and then jumping to the location of HL. And it's the last DMA because that's what the port. I do know something about the Neo Trellis. I'm not talking about it at the moment, but go ahead and ask, and either me or somebody in the chat can answer you. Okay, and then vsync interrupt response. So this is like the start of that window where we have a chance. We make sure we jump out of the addresses where interrupts occur. We're loading the scroll offset. So this is actually, these zeros here are replaced with X and Y position based on the buttons, you'll see. And then we're loading the new gamepad state, which I'll talk about in just a sec. And then we have that same trick of load 1000 or 1100 into HL. We return from the interrupt, which enables interrupts again, and then we jump to 1100 repeatedly. And then here is our vsync interrupt handler on the. I don't think there's a plan for 5x5 grids for Neo Trellis. I think like the Neo Trellis is 8x4, and so it's 2 4x4s. I don't know of any plans to make 5x5s. If they already exist, you should let us know. Maybe we'll try to source them, but I don't think we'll make them on our own. So yeah, so our own vsync interrupt is read the gamepad state that we've computed based on nice game for Neo Trellis. And then X position, Y position, increase and decrease. Setting up the DMA out, replacing the bytes that have the new position. And then we're queuing up the DMA. You'll see a lot of these assembly breakpoints, which is just my debugging of like cases I haven't handled. And then the way that the gamepad works is when you get a gamepad interrupt, we're loading just a high byte value so that we can recognize when the addresses are written. 2 5x5s. Load 0 into C. So then we had both columns on to detect, and then we turn one off and leave one on. We read the state, and then we load it from our cartridge, load an address that includes that data from our cartridge. And then we increment D so that our dummy byte of the address is one higher, and then we do the same thing. And then we turn both columns back on so that we can detect it later. We clear the interrupt, and we return and continually jump to HL again. So that's how the Game Boy or the gamepad works. The way that we're queuing those two interrupts is through this event sys handler. So we're reading the address that's coming in. If it's 40, this is where the Game Boy would jump for a vsync. So you can see that we have a backup timer that's in case we miss this address, in case we read this value too late. We have a backup timer that will actually fire as well and cause a vsync to interrupt if we miss it. And then this is the gamepad interrupt. This is just a general testing thing for other interrupts that shouldn't happen. And then this is testing for those special data back values, and then ANDing that with gamepad state. And then I have a running 2K log of all the addresses we see, which looks like this. So if I press it some, and then I Control C, and if I did it fast enough, I can see all the addresses that we're loading. Is there a way you could put some Game Boy assembly into your source and have it build step that converts to tags? Yeah, probably. But then I'd have to figure out how. It's kind of fun writing assembly myself. And kind of not, but it's both. So we can see here that like this 40 is the vsync interrupt, and then these are the addresses that it's loading for reading the data. And then it's interesting that it's doing it immediately after again. Huh. This is a bug. I'm not successfully turning the Game Boy, or not turning the vsync interrupt off. I had this issue that was like moving super quick. Yes, I do work for Adafruit. I'm a contractor for them. I'm the lead on CircuitPython. The amount of Game Boy assembly Sagittac that I actually have to write is not that much, because I basically only need to be able to read and write memory. I don't need to do any sort of logic stuff. So if I can just like figure out the optimal assembly for just copying bytes over, it doesn't matter because all the logic's going to happen in Python. So I really don't need a ton. So we could try to fix this actually, where the vsync interrupt is just happening over and over again. But we're running low on time as well. I don't think there's much else in the file. This is the like, oh, we ran out of time. That's a vsync interrupt, like backup vsync interrupt. These are for debugging that the timer started. This is initialization stuff, getting that backup timer going, getting its interrupts on, setting up the CCL, setting up all of our pins. It's all pretty hacky right now. Setting up the address stuff is done with the DMA, in addition to the output stuff is done with the DMA. And then we start the Game Boy after we've set up the initial response for the bootloader. We actually wait for that to finish before we keep going. And then this Game Boy IO Q commands is the thing that's actually done from Python. And it looks like it is enabled, which makes me wonder why we're not playing sound. Unless I accidentally wiped the file system, which is totally possible. Which would make me sad because I'm sure I have it backed up, the code that was on there. But I had it loading audio files. I had it loading Pico 8 files and playing the sound from those from Python using this Q commands thing. Does look like it should be doing that. And this, you can see here, if you're still watching, that it's just a mem copy. Like you give me a buffer, I just mem copy it, and then I output it in addition to that little cheater jump, idempotent jump. Is what I'm doing. I think that. So let's see. Cool. There's definitely lag. Let's see how the Salier does with the stream at the same time. I have a feeling the stream might have some health issues, so beware that this might be a little taxing. Because I'm capturing the whole bus. So let's just show what it looks like. Yeah, we'll finish with this. So what I've done is the reset line will trigger when it goes high. So we'll reset, and you'll see this go away because the reset line on the Game Boy's gone down low again. I'm gonna start the Salier, which is the expensive part, and then hit continue. And the Game Boy started up. And we captured 6 seconds. Yes. Salier trigger is, you can actually, maybe I'll show this next, but you can actually set the state of the other pins as well. So if I want to trigger on like the vsync interrupt, I can do that as well. So let's just zoom in here and I'll show you that. So this bit is the bootloader load. So if we zoom way in, this bottom thing is the clock. And what the numbers are right now is the data bus state, but only 6 of the 8 bits because this Salier only does 6 bits in, or it does 16 bits in. So I had to pick and choose what I wanted. So you can see how slow this is loading the Adafruit logo at this point. And remember, it's only when A15 is low is when it's actually reading from us. So you can see that like it sets the address it's reading from, including us, and then it does a read, which is read is already low, so it's doing a read from us. The clock is low, and the read happens on the upper edge, which is what these dots are showing you. So we've successfully like detected that it's going to read from us and change the value before it read the value back. So that's what all of these are. And the reason that these are actually relatively like wide apart, and that's because it's reading the boot loader from ROM while it's doing this. So this will be the Adafruit logo, Nintendo logo, and then or maybe that's just Adafruit. I forget what it is. And then this big gap is the scrolling down part. I don't know what this is. It's possible it's just like a blip on the bus. Stream seems to be doing okay. So let's see. This would be Nintendo logo. And then the moment that we're out of the bootloader, these A15s get much quicker. Remember, that's when it's reading from us. So up until this point, it's actually been doing bootloadery things, and then this is the point that we've convinced it that it's a legit cartridge. And so now we can do the full, like, if we look here, it's like a 1 megahertz, 1.136 megahertz bus that we're responding to. So this is where the DMA comes in handy. Although we are interrupting still, we're interrupting every read. So there is an overhead to CircuitPython as well. And this is us outputting those instructions of like setting the stack address and getting the interrupts going. And then what we can see is that in 15 milliseconds is how long a frame is. So this is how long a frame takes. And then if we zoom in here, this is, it's weird our debug pin is not working. I think it should be toggling stuff. It's possible that it's loose. It looks okay. It moved it around. Yeah, I think that should work. But yeah, what we can see here is that it is indeed, like, it looks like it's firing the vsync interrupt over and over and over and over and over and over again, which is not what we want, but would explain why I had to divide by 255 to get it moving at the right speed. So we're got 7 minutes if we want to make it 3 hours even. It should definitely not be that busy. So let's just take a look here. So this out toggle stuff should be setting the reset line up and down, which it's not, weirdly, which is suspicious. But the only other thing I want to do is that where we clear the interrupt, oh, that's on gamepad. Let's try clearing the interrupt bit for the vsync as well. So let's look here, and that's in 0F. FF 0F. It's bit 0. So we'll make this EE instead of EF. Last chance for questions. Okay. This should, if it works, actually, let's go back to Salier. Let's bump this up to 8 seconds. And we'll just do it right from the start as well. This, for some reason, this is really slow. Like, it's loaded and it starts. I don't know what it's doing. It should just be like deleting a bunch of data. There we go. That was actually way faster than it was last night. So we're going down. We got a bing. And that looks much better. But now it's really, really slow. Can you even see that moving? I wondered why that bug was there. All right. So we just look here. I don't know why my debug pin is not being output. I would expect blips to go along with these blips. It's clearly working because it's moving real slow. Yeah, exactly. Get rid of the divide. Yep. I miss my debug pin. It's really handy. So this is the vsync interrupt, I assume. And I love this stuff. It was really interesting. The read write thing that you see here is the actual interrupt doing the stack push. So this is the push that it does to, so it deasserts reading, so it's able to write, and it's not to us because its A15 is high, right? So this is where the interrupt came in, and then it's pushing the 2 register values onto the RAM, and then it's running us. And if we look closely, the very, like, once A15 goes low, oh, this is a gamepad interrupt. No, wait. Where is it? A15 should be low. Yeah, 4. So 1, 2, 4. So this is the 4 address in the address of the gamepad interrupt. Okay. Let's delete that 256. This is a shift by 8. That's weird. Like, I don't think I was clearing it before. It was okay. And I don't know why the audio is not playing. But it's possible that the file system got wiped. We've been having issues with that. I might just check that. Okay, let's see what it does. Oh, I didn't do the CLEA, but well, I should just be able to know. Heyo. It works like it did before, except now it's not interrupting though. I mean, maybe the audio will work then. Oh, I don't know why it's, that jumpiness might be if we are actually queuing audio events in. All right, for kicks. This is the appeal of it, right? That you can plug in a USB. Please work, please work, please work. Yep. Oh, it got wiped. That's okay though. Let me find it. I have backups. I'm just looking off screen just so I don't show any more sensitive stuff. Gaming 5. That sounds promising. Let's see what this does. So here we can. It's just CircuitPython. No such file or directory. Oh, but I want to play music. What did I call it? PyGB2? Oh, I did it as a UF2 as well. Nice. Oop, that's the wrong place. Let's just see if I can't get it going again. It'll probably hit one of those breakpoints, but it's okay. Eco8. Copy the code.py. I have like multiple versions. That's why I'm like, oh, let's try this version. This one's labeled PyGB2, which is more promising to work on the Pi Game Boy. Here we go. So that P8 file is actually the Pico 8. It's kind of working. Can you hear it? I don't know. Weird. All right, we're gonna go over time, but I want to show you. Oh, I think I hit a breakpoint. No, I just botched an instruction. I think that's pretty far though. Oops. I've got my USB bus is not gonna be happy. And all the cameras are hooked onto the same USB bus. All right, let's stop that. Are you still out there? I don't know why it opens as a second window. Let me just show you what. Oh, come on. So slow. Yeah, so this is how it's working with CircuitPython at this point. I haven't looked at this in a long time. I had this Pico 8 library that I made that loads the file. And then I've got some chime that I hard-coded. And then I copy that bit and then change the sound effects register stuff in a loop. And then I say gbioq commands. So, I think you can still hear me even though it's down by the Game Boy. That's the code that I have playing songs from CircuitPython on a Game Boy. So that's the deal, and I'll play it and I'll wrap up. So thank you to everybody who watched 3 hours of me releasing CircuitPython and then playing around with the Game Boy. Check out Adafruit if you've never heard of them. I think all of you probably have, but they pay my bills, which is great, and let me tinker around with Game Boys in my spare time as well. Expect to see lots and lots and lots of gaming stuff coming this year from Adafruit, which will be cool. And find me online if you have any other questions. I will have the Game Boy play us out. It's definitely not the right sounds that it did before either. And I need to figure out how to get them like overlapping in multi-voice. Did I crash it yet? love chiptunes. All right, and that crashed, so that's a great place to end. Thank you everybody for watching, and subscribe if you actually want to watch me do another long form stream like this, because this is kind of like easy bar for me, so I enjoy doing it this way. Anyway, thanks again, and I'm Scott. I go by Tanute online. I work for Adafruit. Want to support me? Support Adafruit by adafruit.com. You want to know more about CircuitPython? The Discord's a great spot. adafruit.it/discord will get you in there. We have a CircuitPython weekly meeting that goes up on YouTube. That goes up on YouTube every week. We talk about what we're working on at CircuitPython. adafruitdaily.com. Every Tuesday we have information about Python and what's going on. CircuitPython, MicroPython, CPython, all the Pythons. Yeah, I think we have a new website, circuitpython.org, that we showed off earlier in the stream. It is the place to go for all info for CircuitPython, so check that out as well. And I'll see you on the next stream, whenever that is, and it's probably going to be more Game Boy stuff, unless it's a work stream, and then it'll be maybe some gaming stuff anyway, just with the new teaser. It's not out yet, don't ask, and the newer version than that as well. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the Adafruit CircuitPython lands.